So we're going to start with a movie clip. This is from the movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So I'll just show the clip. It's the ending, it's the last scene of the movie, and just one little bit of background for those who haven't seen it is that, of course, you know, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, Sean Connery is his father, and the background is his father has spent his whole lifetime searching for the Holy Grail, which is a cup from which Jesus drank during the Last Supper. Okay, so without further ado, I'll share the screen.
Drop your guns, please. Dad, come on, get to your feet.
We have got it! Come on!
Elsa! Elsa, don't move!
It's ours, Indy! Yours and mine!
Elsa, don't cross the seal! The Night Lord is not to take you back!
Okay, you know, that movie is full of such amazing references. We could just see that movie one day and it'll be a sermon all by itself. So of course Indiana Jones' dad's words saying to let it go were all the more significant because he had spent his whole life searching for the Grail. And today's message is called Let It Go, as you must have guessed. And I want to give credit to two people. Okay, it's been taken from three passages that Rahel received last week during one of our times of prayer, and immediately I felt that I wanted to speak on them, and I asked her permission to do so. So basically I've stolen this message from her. And also there was a gesture that Pavni felt we should do during one of the sessions. And using those two things, I'm sharing that we will be looking at three stories today. The first is the story of the rich young man that we find in Mark chapter 10. And of course, again, it's a very familiar story. We know this rich young man comes to Jesus and wants to know the way to eternal life, how he can be saved. And he's fulfilled all of the laws as far as he knows. And then in verse 21, this is Mark 10 verse 21, This is what Jesus says to him. Jesus looked at him and loved him. One thing you lack, he said. Go, sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me. At this the man's face fell. He went away sad because he had great wealth. It's quite obvious, isn't it? He couldn't let go of his treasure. And we all have worldly material treasures. When we speak about this message, we often talk about other things, but I want to focus on what Jesus is focusing on here, which was worldly material treasure, material wealth, money, possessions, our savings, of course our career which gives us money. Our security is often in some or all of these things. And what Jesus is saying here is that we need to let go of treasure here on earth in order that we may receive treasure in heaven. And I want to focus here on the fact that he could not let go of his money, because Jesus really spoke a lot about money, much more than you would expect. The reason why he did that was because he knew the hold that money has on us, the importance that money has for us. In fact, it enslaves us. He says you cannot serve both God and mammon, because either you are a servant of God or you are a servant of mammon. And we need to let go. We don't need to sell everything we have. This is the only person Jesus said that to, but we need to let go of our need or our security really in material things in order to be truly free. We think that we can have it all, that we can have God and mammon and we'll get the balance and we'll manage both things. It doesn't work that way, and Jesus knew that. We need to let go of our love of money, of our security in money and finances, in the things that give us those finances, the things that we get with those finances, in order to be truly free. I want to take us to a second clip now. And when I heard of the monkey trap, I really thought it was just a very nice illustration, and that it couldn't possibly be true. It's a bit like the story of the frog in the boiling water, which turns out to not be true, but it's such a wonderful illustration, but actually it's not true. And I thought the same of the monkey trap. But here's a video that I found on YouTube. So let's look at it. One of those things, these things that fact is stranger than fiction. But those monkeys are all you and me. Do you realize that? Don't laugh so much. You and me were like that, just holding on to something and being trapped. Okay. Our second story is from Genesis chapter 31. It's about Rachel and Laban's idols. So Genesis 31. And again, the context is, of course, that Rachel and her sister Leah were married to Jacob, and of course, they were in a pagan culture. They were idol worshippers, probably. I mean, not probably, they were. And Jacob had come from Canaan, and now they were heading back. He was running away from Laban and heading back to Canaan. And Genesis 31, I'm just reading one verse, that's verse 19. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household gods. And they went off, and she took his household gods with her. These household gods, the word is teraphim. They would have been small figurines. I don't know if you've seen the movie Gladiator. He's got these small little figurines of human beings which he worships. And they would have been something like that. They were used for divination, for guidance. They were seen to give you protection. And for Rachel, they would have been a source of comfort, a source of security. She would have believed divine power coming from those figurines. It's understandable because that was the culture that she grew up in. Okay, she was married to Jacob, but we had no idea how much she knew about Yahweh, or even El Shaddai, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And here she was going with Jacob, leaving her father's house, going into a foreign land. She would probably have been fearful of change, and change of divine power is, I mean, quite a significant change. Often we are like her, we need to let go of the past, let go of something in the past that is comfortable, that is secure. Sometimes even something that is bad. Often we need to let go of something that is bad, but even if it's good in the sense of giving us security, we need to let go of that thing in order to enter into God's purposes. And the tragedy is this: as the story goes on, Rachel comes under a curse because of what she does. She is unknowingly cursed by Jacob, and the result is, as they are still traveling through the promised land, they don't even get to Abraham's home before she dies, giving birth to a second child. Rachel did not enjoy the blessing of the promised land, and she came under a curse because she was unable to let go of something that was there in her past. And of course, when I thought of the phrase "let it go," I remember the song from Frozen, one of Akshay's favorite songs. One of Tia Zoe's favorite songs also. Okay, "Let It Go." And of course, Elsa in the movie has to let go of the words from her parents that had kept her trapped. And they had done so with all good intentions. Okay, often the intentions are good in things that people say to us and want to stop us from. But she had to let go of those words in order to enter into her gift. Now her gift happened to be freezing things. So, but she uses that gift to make this beautiful castle and things like that. But the point is the same. She had to let go of those words, let go of what they had trapped her in order to enter into a gift. And often we need to let go of things from our past. They're often bad, often things people have spoken to us. On the other hand, things that are comfortable, like the monkey. The fruit was something good for the monkey, enjoyable, but he had to let go of it in order to be free. And we come to the third and final story, which is Ananias and Sapphira. This is Acts chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. I'll just read the passage, read those two verses, and then give you some background. Now a man named Ananias, and this is the early church, the early years of the church. Now a man named Ananias, together with his wife Sapphira, also sold a piece of property. With his wife's full knowledge, he kept back part of the money for himself, but brought the rest and put it at the apostles' feet. So when you read about the early church, in a time of incredible generosity, incredible letting go, people were selling houses and land and giving the money to the apostles, effectively to the church, to use as they saw fit. And here we see Ananias and Sapphira doing something similar, but they kept part of it for themselves. They went to the apostles and said this was the whole amount. And their sin resulted in their deaths. We see later on that first Ananias and then Sapphira, one by one, they die for this. Okay. On the surface, it looks like this is similar to the rich young man. It's greed for money, but not really. It's actually a desire for approval. Okay. As I said, a period of great generosity. In just the previous verse, we read about a man called Joseph, also called Barnabas, most likely the Barnabas who became an apostle later, who sells a field that he owned and brought the money and put at the apostles' feet. Okay, so that's what was happening, and of course Barnabas came and put the whole amount. And Ananias and Sapphira wanted the approval of men. They wanted the praise of the church, that wow, just like Barnabas, just like the others, we have sold our property and we are giving the full amount to the church. And when you read the story, I'd encourage you to read it later. Peter says God would have been okay either way. You didn't have to sell it. If you sold it, you could have come and given whatever you wanted to God. God would have been fine with it. He might have been more pleased with all the money, but he was okay. It was theirs to do with as they pleased. And so it was not about God, it was about pleasing people, getting the approval of men, getting the, what we call in India, wow of other men. And Sushmita would have said, what a wow, when they came and put all the money. Yeah? We need to let go of the need of acknowledgement and approval of others. And as I actually thought of this, I thought of myself because that's something that I struggle with. Needing to be acknowledged, needing to be approved. I know you don't think so because I'm so humble and so modest. Most of the people here don't realize that, but yeah. And God has been really working on me in that area, working on me to let go of the approval. There'll be times when I preach a sermon, not a single person will say, oh, thank you, Uday, or oh, that was a nice sermon, or whatever. Now, that doesn't mean I want you all to say, oh, thank you so much, thank you so much. No, God has been dealing with me on that issue. Yeah, because we need to focus on the audience of one. And that should have been Ananias and Sapphira's thing, that God knows, they might have had a legitimate need, who knows? God knows what we have given, God knows what we can give. It's between us and God. And I realize that this is one of the insidious things, that subtle things we don't even realize that we need, and we need to let go of in order to enter into the fullness of what God has planned for us. You may need to let go of one of these three areas mentioned today: money, wealth, finances, or something from the past, or the need for approval of others, or it might be something else, whatever God convicts you of. Okay. The good news is, if you let go, there is a reward. There's always a reward. And I want to end with I want to show a third clip and then end with a small passage. This clip is from one of the classic westerns. It's called McKenna's Gold. Apart from Carol and others, I'm not sure who would remember this movie. Okay, McKenna's Gold, and I'm showing a 2 or 3 minute clip partly because it's just good fun. There's only one little shot actually that is what I want to say, but I thought I would show you millennials what movies were like before green screen and CGI.
Black and white?
Not black and white. Okay, they would actually film on location. This was filmed in the Grand Canyon actually, and for effects they would use models. So that has nothing to do with my sermon. Just some bonus information. Okay, let's go to this third clip. the context of that movie, they've gone to get this gold, and McKenna is the only one saying that, let's get out of here, and he's been telling his girlfriend, let's go, and she's after the gold, and finally, of course, they manage to escape, and he just jumps on the first horse that he gets, and it turns out to be a saddlebag filled with gold. He didn't know that somebody, and the movie ends with the only chap who didn't want the gold actually riding off with the gold. The good news is there's a reward if you're willing to let go. I want to end with Mark chapter 10, which is the end of the teaching. Jesus then teaches them after the rich young man story. In Mark chapter 10 verse 29 and 30, I tell you the truth, Jesus replied, no one who has left home or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for me, obviously it means anything for me or the gospel, will fail to receive 100 times as much in this present age, homes, brothers, sisters, mothers, children and fields, and with them persecutions, and in the age to come, eternal life. There's a phrase, God is no one's debtor, say in the Bible somewhere, and God is waiting for us to let go, because He has such amazing treasures for us if we would only let go.